Howdy, Fletch with All Things Overlanding here. Today, I'm going to be working to try and fix a problem that I have with my new Frontier. Not with the truck itself, but with my key. As you can see, when I bought this thing, it was already broken. The whole top part was broken off, and you can kind of see how it's kind of circular there. So what had happened was the previous owner had drilled a teeny tiny pinhole through the remaining piece of plastic here. So within a couple days of owning it and having it in my pocket on a key ring, that snapped off. So now it's completely gone. So I don't have a way to keep this key together with my key ring, with the remote. And that's super annoying and dangerous because this is the only key I have for the vehicle. So if I lose this, I'm in big trouble. So what I'm going to try to do today is use some of this Loctite stuff, and I'm going to basically fabricate a new ring on the key. So bear with me, I'll show you step by step kind of how this works and how to do it. I've read a couple things online, I watched a couple videos, so I figured it was something that people probably had as a common problem, so I just figured I would try it myself and let you know how it goes. So let's get into it. All Things Overlanding is brought to you by some fantastic companies. You should definitely check out the description and click through their links to see all the awesome stuff they offer. Companies like Red Arc for all your overlanding power management needs. Last US Bag, tons of amazing quality overlanding bags. Rugged Bound Supply Company, rooftop tents, awnings, roof racks, and more. And Northology Overland, guided overlanding trips and a free overlanding magazine. All right, so for this repair, you need your key, obviously. You also need this Loctite stuff, which I'll put a link to in the description down below. And then a couple of the things that I saw said, sometimes it can be helpful to use like a paper clip or something metal to kind of give yourself a framework to work with. So what I'm going to do is, this is just like a little paper clip or something. I'm going to try and bend this into sort of the shape of the top of the key that is missing here, the little hoop, if you will, at the top. And then I'm going to wrap this putty around it. Now, this epoxy stuff is actually really cool. It says that it's intended for plastic repair, basically. You get about 5 to 10 working minutes, and then within about an hour, it's fully cured and sandable. And then within 24 hours, it's fully cured and good to go. So I like that the turnaround time is short on it. So again, I'm going to mold some of this together. I'm going to make a little frame, mold this together, basically attach it to the key with as much of this stuff as I can get on here without it looking stupid. And then I'm going to let it kind of harden. And then after a little while, I'm going to sand it down and file it down and try and make it look mostly like a key again. And then hopefully I'll be able to put it on a key ring. So pretty excited for this little project. Again, this stuff's really inexpensive, so if you have something like this, it's not worth the hassle to keep trying to mess with this thing. This stuff hopefully will do the job. So let's give it a shot. So I've got the putty, I've got my little paper clip thing, I've got some wire snips, and then I've got a little pair of pliers that I'm going to use to bend the metal. So I'm just going to kind of look across here. I think what I need to do is put a bend. So I'm going to put a bend right where my paper clip kind of naturally bends. I'm just going to cut it down here at the bottom and make that the bottom of my loop on this side. And then I'll bend the other side down right about there. Like that. And I'm going to snip this other side here. And then I think that this is a little bit too long. So once I straighten this piece out, the other side is significantly longer. So I'm going to kind of bend this and straighten it out a little bit. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be covered with the epoxy stuff anyways. I just want them to be about the same length so that they don't like stick up and look obviously bad. So, this is what I'm kind of left with here now. So I've got my little frame. Let me hold it up and make sure it's going to fit on the key. It looks pretty close. Since there's still this plastic piece left here and it's a little bit longer on that side, I think I'm gonna shave down this side just a touch more, and I'm gonna make it so that this side is a little bit shorter. Here, I'm trying to hold this in a way so you can see it, and the other side's a little longer. I may need to bend that in a little bit more. So something like that. And then again, I'm gonna wrap it all with putty. Now they do say in the instructions to wear gloves. I unfortunately don't have any, so I'm just risking my life here for you guys for this video. I'm going to wash my hands very thoroughly. I'm not going to rub my eyes or anything like that. But so basically the way this stuff works is you'll see that it has like a wrapper on it. So it's basically two different compounds, hence epoxy, right? That's what epoxy is. But so you cut a little piece of it off enough to mold into the shape, and then you just rub it together. You just basically combine it together until the two pieces become the same color. So once the color is set, then you know that it's blending, right? It's starting to go through its chemical reaction to become hardened plastic. So I am going to take some scissors here. I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off here, just like that. And then I'm going to keep the rest because I want to, have this for if I need a little bit for a future project. I plan to use this. I mean, it's really cheap. It's really inexpensive stuff, but it seems really super useful. So I'm pretty excited to see what else I can do with this stuff. But so, you got your white part in the middle and the blue stuff. Basically, you just knead it together until it becomes one solid color. Again, you're really supposed to use gloves with this, so sorry I'm being dangerous, guys, but it's probably just going to stick to my skin permanently and or rip my skin off. We'll find out. But so if you have gloves, wear gloves. Please don't do as I say, not as I do, okay? So yeah, then you knead this stuff together. It just really didn't take much. You saw how little I cut off of there, and I can already tell this is a ton of this stuff, right? Like I'm just trying to make a little bit of a key. It has kind of a odor to it. You can definitely smell that it's working. It's really interesting. But so again, I'm going to take my little piece of metal here, and I'm just going to kind of start to cover it. And I'm going to try and form it kind of into the general shape. Now remember, we can sand it later. That is the plan, is we're going to sand it. So I actually think I've got like way too much of this stuff. So I'm going to take a little bit of it and set it to the side here, not on my table, so that it permanently hardens to the table. But the metal, gives me an idea of where I need the plastic stuff to be. I mean, the stuff isn't hard to work with at all. It's kind of just like, if you're familiar with that sort of blue sticky stuff, maybe a lot of us used in our childhood to like stick stuff to poster board and stuff, kind of reminds me of that a little bit. I can actually feel it kind of heating up, which is pretty interesting as the chemical reaction happens. So I've kind of got the rough shape, right, of the top of the key here. So I'm going to now take this and sort of put it on the top of the key, and then I'm going to kind of mold it down around it as my plan. Kind of moving more of the putty down to the ends so that I can make it attached to the key. I'm trying to get as much of the putty and stuff down onto the key as possible so that it will adhere to the key, because that's the whole goal, right? So you can see there, I mean, it's not exactly pretty, and it probably won't be when I'm done. I mean, I'm not making any sort of assertions that you're not gonna be able to tell that I did something to this. But what I'm hoping for is that you will be able to put it on a keychain and actually use the key without losing it. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm kind of flatten the top a little bit. I feel pretty good about that. So yeah, so now we just have to wait a little bit. I'm gonna go wash my hands very thoroughly. And then I'll be back with you here in a little bit to see how this sets up and how this goes. And then we'll be sanding it, and I think we'll be good to go. All right, guys, so it's been a little over an hour, and as you can see, it's kind of hardened up. I just sanded it a little bit. So I did sand just to kind of smooth it out, make it a little bit flatter. Again, I'm not going for perfection. One thing is you can kind of see there, my little metal thingy is the edge of it sticking out a little bit. But again, I'm just going to paint this anyways. So what I've done is I just used some regular old clear tape and taped over the key part of it. And I'm going to hit it with some bed liner. So I'm actually just going to hit the whole thing over the Nissan emblem and everything with bed liner. But again, not the most perfect, not the most pretty thing, but saves you money. You don't have to go and get a new key this way. And it feels very strong. It feels just like plastic. I mean, it's as hard as the key was, originally. So again, just going to hit this with some bed liner, give it another day to set up fully, and then should be good to go. So I'll show you what it looks like here in a minute when I get done painting it. All right, guys, so the painting is done. Again, keep in mind, it's not going to be perfect. Okay, don't judge me. But it does look all black now. You can still kind of see the Nissan logo. I probably, if you really wanted to try and make it perfect, you could try and sand this all down so it's flush. I just honestly don't care. But here's the thing is, don't stare at it too closely, and you can definitely see that it is the shape of a key, and it does have a hole in it now, right? So, I mean, I can use this key again now, which is what my main goal was. It's not 100% perfect, but it's not terrible. I mean, again, the Raptor liner or stuff, it's like spray-on bed liner that I used on it, actually came out pretty decent. It's got a little texture to it. It's waterproof, It's not going to just come off in my pocket, so that's kind of nice. But, again, for a quick, cheap fix, I think this is a good option. So I hope that this is a helpful video for you. I hope that this was kind of the info that you're looking for. that this kind of helps you out. Let's pull this tape off here real quick before I wrap this up though. So again, I just wrapped it up in some like transparent tape, and there you go. Got a key. Now we've got a complete key with a hole in it so that I can put it on my keychain, which is pretty cool. So again, I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, click that like button. If you are not already, click that subscribe button. I put out several videos a week. Tons of stuff with overlanding, gear reviews, do-it-yourself mods like this, budget stuff. So if you're into any of that sort of stuff, I'd love it if you would subscribe. Down in the description are links to Facebook, Instagram, podcasts that I do every week. Also a Patreon page. So if you're an overlander or weekend warrior and you go camping a lot and you want to talk about stuff without, you know, all of the sort of guff that you have to take from other places, check that out. Same with Newbie Overlanders, the Facebook group down there. Tons and tons of cool stuff in the description down below. So definitely check that out. But again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.